evening, everyone. Tonight we are at the Public Safety Committee meeting as co-chair. We are going of the precinct and holiday safety information from Deputy Inspector David Wall, Commanding Officer of the 70th Precinct.
One moment. There is some sort of audio interference. Can you make sure that if you're calling in on your phone, that the microphone on your laptop is muted?
Yes, it says it's red. It's muted. How's about now? Is it better?
Well, maybe that's the best we can do. Carry on.
How are we now, Anya?
There's an echo, but I think we can carry on if that's the best we can do. Is everyone else can hear, correct?
Can everyone hear?
I can hear
Yes.
you. How do I explain?
Okay, so we'll start this one more time. This meeting is starting, and the first event that we're going to talk to is Deputy Inspector David Wall, Commanding Officer of the 70th Precinct, who will give us a state of precinct and holiday safety information. Inspector Wall.
Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me? No? Can anyone hear me? No?
Yes,
We hear you.
Okay, thank you. Always got to make sure with these things.
I know.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Today, just very quickly, we're going to talk about the crime and the precinct over the last month. Some tips that have to do with holiday safety that's coming up. Some announcements, and then I'll answer any questions that anyone on the board has. With me in the room, I think you saw already, we have Detective Nuzzi here. If you have any questions that pertaining to community affairs or anything of that nature, he's here as well. And we can work on any issues that come up tonight. Looking at the crime in the last month or the last period, which is November 2nd to November 29th, we actually seen an increase in crime this month, about 14%. When we break down where the crime is coming from, we're actually seeing decreases in two areas. One is robberies, 14 versus 16 cases. But one of the things we are seeing, and I want to get out there, is Facebook Market. We're seeing a lot of robberies where people are setting up to sell items on Facebook Market. I myself don't really use Facebook. Maybe many people do. Facebook Market is seen to become an area where perpetrators are using that to set up people for robberies to steal items anywhere from sneakers, which are very popular, all the way up to and including cars. So if you or someone's selling things on Facebook Market, they really need to set up their meet location at somewhere that's public, somewhere that has a lot of cameras, and somewhere that has a lot of obvious cameras to make sure that thing happens. That's a new trend that we're seeing. Robberies occurring over Facebook Market where you go to sell items. That's one of the big things. Grand larcenies are down as well. Again, one of the things that are increasing is scams and scams of all nature. The most recent one from last week, an individual called up, said he was from Social Security office, also said he was from the NYPD, but he was calling from Texas. He was able to get about $5,000 by threatening the person that they were going to be arrested, and that your Social Security number is involved in drug dealing, some type of crime in another state, and that you will be arrested. So it's always something I put out there because it's affecting so many people. Normally, it used to affect the elderly before these scams, but now it's affecting the very young. Any age, honestly, from young to elderly. It's affecting everyone. Everyone's falling for the scam, so it's something I always put out there. When we get into the crimes that have increased, something that got a little public attention, we actually did have 3 cases of rape in this month. One actually had news attention. That was the young girl who was attacked in a medical office. I'm happy to say that an arrest was made in that case. It was very good work by Special Victims Unit, SVU, the real one. They utilized video camera. They followed this person across Brooklyn to find where he was staying, and they made an arrest in that case. And he is currently in jail right now. So there's 3 cases. 2 of the cases have arrests. The 3rd case that does not have arrest is a case of a 16-year-old who has a 25-year-old boyfriend. And the SVU is also investigating that case. We've seen an increase in burglaries from 14 cases to 11 cases, but 9 of those cases are commercial burglaries. So we're seeing an increase in commercial burglaries. It's something I want to get out to the bids. They're going to have Detective Muzzy reach out to the bids about the commercial burglaries. What's happening is the grate system, the grate that's on the sidewalk that leads to the basement, a lot of businesses are leaving that unsecured. And that's become a point of entry for some of these burglaries. So it's something we want to get across to all the bids. If anyone's part of the bid, it's something we definitely want to mention and make sure those things are also secure. Make sure your camera systems are operational. It's a lot of ways that we take these perpetrators off the street is by having good systems. One of the things I do mention is the alarm system. Out of the 9 commercial burglaries, there was only 1 with an alarm system that reached out to the police. Whether you have an alarm that reaches out to the police or reaches to you directly, it's something that's important to really get that quick notification that someone has illegally entered your business. So that's one thing we did saw, that there was only 1 case out of the 9 where an alarm system reached out directly to the police. So that's something we want to start working with different bids, get out to our different business leaders and business owners to better secure their business. Grand larcenies of vehicles, stolen vehicles, we're still seeing an increase. There's something been consistent over the year. Something that has been consistent is the car running with the keys in the ignition. 6 out of the 11 are cars running with the keys in the ignition. It happens in Flatbush, but it also happens in other places within the precinct. So it's something I keep commenting on. There's really no reason to, even in the code, whether the 5 minutes it takes to go into a store, and normally it's going to a store to get something, the car won't be that cold for you to leave the car running with the keys in the ignition. It makes it very difficult for us to combat that. Also, people have to understand that people are using these stolen cars, especially young people who are stealing these cars. It's not a sophisticated operation. It's really just young people seeing opportunity. They're using these cars in violent crimes, shootings, and things of that nature. And that's not something you want on your conscience, that your vehicle was used in a shooting. So if at all possible, you want to be able to secure your car as best as you can. And the first thing is to turn off the car and take the keys with you. We want to talk about assaults. We had an increase in shootings this month. We've actually had 4 shootings. One we discussed in our last community council meeting. It was on November 15th at 188 Parkside Avenue at 9:30 in the morning. After a male was having a dispute, he was shot multiple times on a Sunday, right at 9:30 in the morning. We have made an arrest in that case. The perpetrator who committed that crime was arrested. Unfortunately, the person did die in that, but at least sometimes we get some closure that we made an arrest in that case. On November 20th at 8:51 p.m. at the intersection of Tate and Flatbush Avenue, a male was walking down to that location, and it looks like a car driving by discharged a firearm multiple times, striking him in the foot. Looks like he was not the intended target in that case, but it's just another example of perpetrators using cars and a lot of these paper plates that we definitely are looking at to promote violence. So that case is under investigation. On November 27th at 6:52 p.m. at 25 Tennis Court, we had two males that were shot. About 6 people hanging out in front of the location. Again, a car drives down the street, shoots a couple of times, strikes one person in the foot, strikes another person in the torso and the left arm. We're gonna have definitely information going out with that car. We gotta get information about that car. That's something we're investigating, but it's definitely something that we press. Paper plates we look at. We look to try to prevent stolen cars because these cars will be used in acts of violence. So it's something that we're looking to. If you have any information on any case that we mentioned, please don't hesitate to call. You can definitely remain anonymous. Nothing about your information will get out. Now, November 29th, supposedly at 3:20 p.m. on East 29th Street between Forster and Farragut. 16-year-old male says he was walking down that street when an unknown male attempted to rob him. There was a scuffle. In the scuffle, a firearm went off, striking him in his hand. From there, he went home and then went to a hospital. Now, we are currently investigating this, but we're also investigating the validity of this location. So this entire incident is under investigation as well. The individual was shot, but we're investigating the complete circumstances as that was the location that we were given, and our investigation hasn't borne that out yet, but we're looking at all aspects of that case. I mentioned a lot of violence here. One of the things we're looking to combat that is we were able to find in the budget some overtime for our extra police officers for this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're looking to keep that consistent, that on nights where there may be extra people out on the street, we're looking to increase our presence in places where there's going to be acts of violence. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll typically see extra police officers out there looking to combat crime and any violence that may occur. That's something I've been trying to keep consistent as we get money in the budget to do these things. Just some quick holiday tips. My first one is the most important is for if you're giving anyone or you're lucky enough yourself to get any Apple products, instead of having them delivered, they can be delivered to the store where you can go and pick them up securely. You don't have to have these boxes waiting there while you're at work for hours on end. Other people from the street can take them. And honestly, some of your neighbors can also take them. I've seen those cases as well. You can get them delivered to the Apple store and pick them up securely from the Apple store. In times like this, try to keep, sometimes it's good to keep all your items separate. A lot of people use their cell phones and then put every credit card and cash they have in some type of wallet attached to the cell phone. That's not good to put all your eggs in seemingly one basket. If you simply lose your phone or there's a theft of your phone, just remember most cell phones are now easily $1,000. So there could be a point where people want to take them. Now you've also lost your credit cards and cash or point identification as well. So it's definitely something you see. As always, because of the holidays, even with COVID, crime doesn't take a break. Normally, there's a little bit of increase of individuals going through cars. Please don't leave any valuables in your car. That's something we always say. People who leave wallets, laptops, things of that nature. And a lot of times, their doors are not locked when these things are stolen from your car. So please don't leave any valuables in your car, if at all possible. There's some announcements before I get really into questions. NCO Boys going to be having their Build the Block meeting at 7 p.m. at 1087 Ocean Avenue. That's December 9th at 1087 Ocean Avenue at 7 p.m. On December 16th, NCO David will be having their meeting at 157 St. Paul's Place. That's December 16th, 7 p.m. at 157 St. Paul's Place. Our next community council meeting, precinct community council meeting is, just want to remind everybody that it's actually going to be on a Monday. So that week is the holiday week. It's going to be on December 21st of Monday. Another virtual meeting. But just to take down information, it's actually going to be on a Monday. And we still have our toy drive and our coat drive. If anyone has any coats or toys they would like to donate to the precinct for anyone in this time, especially with this weather, we are accepting toys and coats. With that, I'll open it to anyone who has any questions.
If anyone has any questions, you can raise your hand, or you can also unmute yourself and speak. Chairman, I don't see any. Oh, okay. I do see a hand. Michael Cedillo.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Can you hear me? Hello? Yes? Hi. Hi, Inspector Wall. How are you? Nice to meet you. I'm Michael Cedillo. I'm a new member of the Public Safety Committee. Happy to be here. Thanks for your service. I have a few questions for you. One, you mentioned a 14% increase in crime. There are some areas that went down. Do you have, I mean, I know this is like citywide, and I mean, my sense, of course, is that, and I know nothing about public safety, but my sense is like the economic factors from COVID are really contributing to that. Do we have any other data that suggests why there's an increase in crime, particularly in our precinct or citywide, that you're tracking or following closely?
Okay, that's a very good question. Not getting into anything political because I'll leave that to the leadership of the police department. I'll just say this: with the change in the bail reform, what has happened is we have individuals in this precinct who continually commit crimes, and as we arrest them, unfortunately, they're let out quickly. They're quickly let out. There wasn't a period of where we had no courts, no grand juries, no prosecutions were going forward. So let's just say with recidivism, we have 15 different recidivists who are burglary recidivists. They break into homes, commercial establishments, they break into cars. So we have 30 out of the 15 we've arrested. Out of the 30, we've arrested 15 multiple burglaries just this year. Out of the 15 that we arrested for multiple burglaries, only 3 are currently in jail right now. The rest are out. Sometimes we're still thinking they're committing other crimes. So what we're seeing is a little bit of recidivism issue lending itself to increase in burglaries a lot. So it's something that we have to work with the court system. We're only one part of the criminal justice system. And with COVID, there was a time where there were no prosecutions going on, and there were COVID releases from jail for people who have committed shootings. Those people released on COVID. Those people got out and actually did other shootings. So there's a lot to it. Besides the economics with people, we also seen an increase in domestic family assaults. For first-time families having assaults, that could be chalked up to the fact that you have to, shelter at home for so long, and seemingly what's been a tough time for everyone. And that's something we've actually seen this year is increase in family assaults. So this year, which is mercifully coming to an end, has a lot of things, and I don't want to pinpoint it to just one issue, but it's not affecting just this precinct. It's really affecting citywide all of these issues.
Thank you for that. In the CompStat data that comes out, would we be able to, I don't think it goes into that granular level of detail, but where could I look at the data to show that the folks who would have been in jail, but because of bail reform or not, were the repeat offenders?
No, well, we don't dive that deep. The information put out to the public is very simple. One thing I'll say about the police department, sometimes we can use numbers too much, and we don't like to use that for the public because sometimes it's too much. But unfortunately, what frustrates me is, that I know the names of the people that we arrested multiple times, and this year alone, I'm seeing it over and over and over again. So it would take a little bit more of a deep dive. Now, if you want to get a little bit more specific in your NCO meeting, you can definitely go over it. Where it's just you and a police officer, you can talk about the burglaries in your precinct and what they're seeing, the burglaries in your sector, what they're seeing. That's a good thing for the NCO build a block meeting to go to if you haven't gone to one. You haven't gone to one before. So it's good to get down to that little small level in your sector.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a second, but I'll pause and see if anybody else does. Thank you for your time.
If anyone else has a question, please raise your hand or unmute and speak.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Julia Yepes.
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't know how to raise the hand. This program. So I wanted to ask, did you find that there were more burglaries after the pandemic or during? When we had quarantine, that's what I meant.
No, it actually remained consistent, and it actually decreased in some levels. Why? Because people were actually staying home a little bit more. In the beginning of the year, that's when we had a really big increase, and that's actually before COVID. That's more of the bail reform. So judges weren't allowed to impose bail. So if I broke into your house tonight, by tomorrow I'm back out on the street. And when COVID started a little bit, because there were no court cases, when that started consistently happening, sometimes that emboldens the recidivists. I'm talking about the hardcore recidivists who's been in jail multiple times back and forth. Sometimes that's emboldened them in the beginning of this year, where they're being arrested, they're being released very, very quickly, and sometimes released from the precinct instead of a night in jail or anything like that. The hardcore recidivists sort of took that as a chance for them to commit further crimes. So when COVID was full blown, burglaries went down a little bit because there were more people. At home. So residential burglaries went down a little bit.
Can I ask you another question?
Yes, go ahead.
I was wondering do you find that there is any difference between crimes perpetrated on people with disabilities or non-disabled? Which do you find is the greater problem for the people with disabilities or without it?
Are you talking about as victims?
As victims, yes.
It
goes with the elderly also.
Well, the elderly is something that we track, and the things that we look for elderly is assaults. That's something that we track. And robberies is something that we track. it hasn't really increased anymore consistently over the years past. As far as whether the person is disabled or not, it's not really something that we track. A victim is a victim. A victim's a victim to us. If their disability sort of aided the perpetrator in committing this crime, then that's something we'll look at. But we treat every victim as the same. So we don't really see where a person's disability a lot of times is the driver of overall crime. Now, there are people with disabilities who have been the victims of crime, people in wheelchairs who have been robbed on Flapper Avenue, things of that nature. But we don't see overwhelmingly as if an individual is disabled in any way, that they'll be more likely to be the victim of crime. Now, sometimes domestic situations, that's a little bit different. That goes into a family dynamic. But just in basic street crime, it's not more one over the other.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any further questions?
I'd like to
Mr. Chair, if you
about
don't mind.
Hello?
Oh, go ahead, Joe. I already asked one.
Go ahead, Joe.
I'd like to remark about the Dylan Stewart Memorial on Saturday. It was really a beautiful memorial to Dylan Stewart, who was killed here at 15 years ago. He was doing a regular routine traffic stop, and the person pulled a gun out and shot him, and it got under his vest, into his heart, and he still pursued that person. That person is now serving life, but his children were there, and his wife with at the memorial, and it was such a moving thing. And I wanted to thank you, Inspector Wall. It was a really beautiful ceremony. Thank you so much
For the comment. Are there any other questions for the inspector?
Yes, I have one. Do you mind?
Go ahead.
Michael. Thanks. Also, Inspector Wall, since the summer, the campus, actually, I'm not even sure if I'm using the right term, but the precinct that is on the west side of the parade ground, on the north part of it, there's like a gate and a police car that looks like it's, I don't know, patrolling the area or watching the area. I've noticed that's been there since the summer. Is there a specific threat or a specific reason why that car is parked there, or is there anything we should know about as to the reason that's there?
Sorry, I was trying to find the mute button.
I do it every day.
No problem.
Say the location again one more time. You said the west of the west of the parade grounds.
Yes, sir. The precinct west of the parade ground. I run by it most days, and as you go like to the north and start to enter Prospect Park, it kind of like funnels, and there are gates there and a car station there. And it's been there since the summer. It wasn't there before, so I just didn't know if there's anything that the public should be aware of as to why the car is parked there, or if there's a way we could open up the gates and make for an easier flow of pedestrians and bikes that are going through that area.
Now, are you talking about the entry into Prospect Park?
It's not at the street level yet. It's still in the sort of alleyway just to the west of the tennis courts. But I am, talking about that general area.
That location, if you see there's sort of like a police precinct there. You're talking about right there. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I think it's like half. I'm not sure the makeup. It's like, it looks like it's like a half park, maybe half precinct. I don't know, but there's.
Yeah, that's our SRG unit. They go to things like protests and large scale events, and rapid deployment. So that's their base over there. So any car recently might be part of their sort of deployment or their parking. They park the car right there because their whole base is right there, and they have a lot of vehicles. Now, you were talking about recently or during the summer?
No, it's been since the summer, and it's not just a car parked there, and it's we don't have to go too far back and forth. It's like there's not only a squad car, but an officer stationed there, looking like maybe guarding the area. And that's been since the summer. I don't know if others have noticed this. It's not a big deal by any means, but I'm just curious as to why and if, you know, is there a reason that they're there?
A lot of times we use officers to protect our own cars because of things that have happened. Our cars being damaged or brake lines being cut. So he might actually be there to just protect the police vehicles that are there.
Okay.
Oh, okay, hold on. Great, thanks. Are there any more questions for the inspector? Hearing none, seeing no one's hand raised, at this time, and Deputy Nuzzi and other detectives and other police officers who are helping out our community to wish them a happy and healthy holiday and a happy and healthy New Year. And that should go as well to all the people who are on board with us this evening. Thank you, Inspector. Okay, at this time we're going to move on to the next part of the agenda tonight, and that is to Rick Rodriguez, who is going to deal with violence prevention intervention coming from CAMBA. Rick, are you there?
Yes. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to share with you what our programs do and how we can provide our services to the communities in which you live and have concern. Let me first just say that CAMBA has major program areas in economic development, education and youth development, family support, health, housing, and legal services. And we've served 65,000 individuals annually, plus 10,000 youth annually. And more than half of our clients that we see are immigrants and refugees. And 85% of the families are living in poverty. This is the demographics we have. I fall under the family support services, and that pertains to the programs I serve in the violence prevention and intervention services. One of the major programs is the Victims Assistance Program, in which we provide assistance for families who are victims of crime, who are hurt or injured by filing a New York State compensations claim form. And this includes families of any kind of crime who are violently hurt or injured that may not have the means to pay for medical attention received, or they may have lost time off work as a result of the crime and they're not being compensated, or they lost personal items such as prescription glasses, hearing aids, clothing that have been torn or damaged as a result of the crime. These things can be reimbursed or compensated for. And for families who lost loved ones as a result of crime, either through homicide or gun violence, they may receive up to $6,000 from the Office of Victim Services to help pay for funeral expenses once all receipts and everything has been submitted. And that's our primary job with the victims of crime. We also provide case management support services. We do referrals to other programs that the families might have need of. And we do advocate to other programs for services, to courts, to make sure that the clients who are in danger can get orders of protection, either through criminal court or for family court. And we also provide advice on what clients may want to do should they be victims of sexual assault or rape. If they wish to report to the police, how to go about it. If they do not, we know that they have a right not to if they feel that they are in danger, and we explain to them the process of what can happen and the steps to take, and we try to advocate on their behalf. In that program, we have a 24/7 hotline, 1-800-310-2449, which victims of sexual assault or rape or family members are concerned can call to get some assistance, advice, and referrals of where to go. We have a program that's funded by the City Council under the Domestic Violence Empowerment Initiative. And in that program, we primarily go out to the community to educate on domestic violence, family violence, warning signs, how to stay safe, how to develop safety plans in case they are in danger or living at home in violent situations. And we know that during this pandemic, most victims of abuse and violence are with their partners or with their perpetrator because they cannot go anywhere or be anywhere at the moment. And so they are at home. And so we're anticipating any kind of escalation in violence within the home. And we try to provide them with one-on-one services virtually since my staff and all are working from home, which is a challenge for us in providing the direct services, but we're there for them to talk virtually via cell phone, FaceTime, what have you, whatever means they have. We provide education about dating violence and sexual assault awareness to college students with our Enough's Enough initiative to the state of New York's Department of Health. And we have the Comprehensive Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention Program, which provides education and to parents education about sexual health risks among teens and the prevention of AIDS and HIV, STDs, and contraceptives, and to protect them from anything that would endanger their sexual behaviors. Our main goal is to prevent them from getting to sexual behaviors by offering them youth development activities such as workshops and other activities to keep them occupied and preventing any kind of situations involving sexual health behaviors. And we also inform parents of those dangers, telling parents about the social media, what is safe, what is not safe, how to protect your children from communicating with the wrong persons online, and how to keep your information private, and what the tools they need to be safe while they're communicating in chat rooms or virtually, which can be a danger. We know we have some youth that would venture out to meet people, and we try to stress the dangers of doing so to keep them healthy and safe. And we do presentations like this so that communities are aware of our presence and that we're always available 24/7 in our program, and try to help the families in need. And through all our other programs, if they come to our doors in our program, we can provide them with referral sources to other CAMBRA programs that they would be eligible for, like GED programs. We have a workforce program where we teach clients how to become security guards. We used to have a program to help those who are interested in running daycare centers out of their own home, how to process it, how to get their own licensing to operate. We work with the refugees and the workforce to get them trained in computer skills to get better jobs. We have English as second language. And we have after school programs out of school time, which is now from the Beacon Centers and Cornerstone projects where youth can hopefully hang out, get together with activities, and most of it right now is kind of virtual as well. And we are always open to ideas to do presentation and workshops. And that's the gist of what our programs can do. I'm open
to the community. Right, do you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. As well as your 24/7 number that we will have posted so that everyone should be aware of it, so that there is some contact. At this time, are there any questions for Mr. Rodriguez?
If anyone has
Seeing
any
none.
Sorry, Steve, but I don't see any hands.
All right, I don't see any hands up.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Who's that?
This is Michael again. Sorry to suck up all the oxygen. Hi, Rick. Nice to meet you. I'm Michael Cedillo. Thank you for the presentation. I don't mean this to be a controversial question. I'm actually curious, but are there instances where you would recommend we call the CAMBA Crime Victim Assistance number over 911? I'm of the probably guess if like, if it's a question, probably call 911, but are there specific areas in which you would recommend we call that number over 911?
If it's a dire emergency, because our staff do not go out to crime sites, but it's a dire emergency, they should dial 911
of
first. However, if they need services, and the precincts that we mostly work with right now are the 67, 70, 78, and we're now working with 71. They can contact directly for us for services and refer clients or families. We do not go out and invite the families. We won't write letters to their homes because of confidentiality. But we've had officers actually call and say, I have a family to refer that needs services. We welcome them to contact us so we get an assessment of what they need and how we can work with them. And if they need other services, which CAMBA does not have, such as family court issues in terms of child custody and hearings, we try to refer them to the right people so they can get those needs met. And we'll do the case management and follow up with them to make sure that they're getting what they need from other sources.
Great.
So basically what it sounds like, CAMBA is a place of services that will be there to be offered to the community as needed and as referred to by PD and other safety officers, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Rick. It was a pleasure hearing from you, and hopefully you won't have too much business, although I hope that they send the right people to you. Let's leave it that way.
Well, according to what I just heard earlier, the robberies have dropped because of the pandemic, and well, that might hurt us a little bit because we're not providing that much services, but we know things are happening, and we know that families are probably not stepping out to report it because what can be done. And most clients need safety, shelter, and housing, which is also limited in referrals as well. But we're going to try to help what we can.
We appreciate what you're doing. Is there any other comments that anyone needs to speak about with regard to public safety? You can raise your hand or speak out. Seeing none. At this time, I just would like to wish everyone, again, a happy holidays and a happy New Year that's coming up. I do also publicly wish to thank the NCOs of the precinct for doing what they're doing to help keep the safety within our community. At this time, if there is no further questions, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:21 p.m. Thank you very much, Anya, for everything that you do to make this thing all work.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.